There's going to be an open-air service. Procession. They're going to pray for victory for the Revolutionary People's Army of the Ukraine. What victory? They've already won. And they'll win again. There's going to be a campaign. Where to? To Moscow. Which Moscow? The usual. They'll never make it. What did you say? Say that again. Hey, lads, listen to what this Russian's saying. I didn't say anything. Arrest him. Stop, thief. Run through that gateway, Marusha, otherwise we'll never get through this crowd. They say Petliura is in the square. Let's go and see him. You fool, Petliura is in the cathedral. Fool yourself. They say he's riding on a white horse. Hurrah for Petliura. Hurrah for the Ukrainian People's Republic. Bong, 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 tinkle, clang clang, bong clang bong, raged the bells. Have pity on an orphan, Christian people, good people. A blind man. A poor man. Dressed in black, his hindquarters encased in leather like a broken beetle, a legless man wriggled between the legs of the crowd, clutching at the trampled snow with his sleeves to pull himself along. Crippled beggars displayed the sores on their bruised shins, shook their heads as though from tic douloureux or paralysis, rolled the whites of their eyes pretending to be blind. Tearing at the heartstrings of the crowd, reminding them of poverty, deceit, despair, hopelessness and sheer animal misery, creaking and groaning, they howled the refrain of the damned. Shivering disheveled old women with crutches thrust out their desiccated, parchment-like hands as they moaned. God give you good health, handsome gentlemen. Have pity on a poor old woman. Give to the poor, my dear, and God will be good to you. Capes, coats, bonnets with ear flaps, peasants in sheepskin caps, red-cheeked girls, retired civil servants with a pale mark on their cap where the badge had been removed, elderly women with protruding bellies, nimble-footed children, Cossacks in greatcoats and shaggy fur hats with tops of different colors, blue, red, green, magenta with gold and silver piping, with tassels from the fringes of coffin palls, they poured out onto the cathedral courtyard like a black sea, yet the cathedral doors still gave forth wave upon wave. Heartened by the fresh air, the procession gathered its forces, rearranged itself, straightened up and glided off in an orderly and proper sequence of heads wearing check scarves, mitres, stovepipe hats, bareheaded deacons with their long flowing hair, skull-capped monks, painted crosses on gilded poles, banners of Christ the Savior and the Virgin and Child, and a host of icons in curved and wrought covers, gold, magenta, covered in Slavonic script. Now like a gray snake winding its way through the city, now like brown turbulent rivers flowing along the old streets, the innumerable forces of Petliura made their way to the parade on St. Sophia's Square. First, shattering the frost with the roaring of trumpets and the clash of glittering cymbals, cutting through the black river of the crowd, marched the tight ranks of the Blue Division. In blue greatcoats and blue-topped astrakhan caps set at a jaunty angle, the Galicians marched past. Slanting forward between bared sabers, two blue and yellow standards glided along behind a large brass band, and after the standards, rhythmically stamping the crystalline snow, rank on rank of men marched jauntily along dressed in good, sound German cloth. After the first battalion ambled a body of men in long black cloaks belted at the waist with ropes, with German steel helmets on their heads, and the brown thicket of bayonets crept on parade like a bristling swarm. In uncountable force marched the ragged grey regiments of Cossack riflemen and battalion on battalion of Haydamak infantrymen. Prancing high in the gaps between them rode the dashing regimental, battalion and company commanders. Bold, brassy, confident marches blared out like nuggets of gold in a bright, flashing stream. After the infantry detachments came the cavalry regiments riding at a collected trot. The excited crowd was dazzled by rank on rank of crumpled, battered fur caps with blue, green and red tops and gold tassels. Looped onto the riders' right hands, their lances bobbed rhythmically like rows of needles. Jingling gaily, the bell-hung hetman's standards jogged along among the ranks of horsemen, and the horses of officers and trumpeters strained forward to the sound of martial music. Fat and jolly as a rubber ball, Colonel Bolbotun pranced ahead of his regiment, his low, sweating forehead and his jubilant, puffed-out cheeks thrusting forward into the frosty air. His chestnut mare, rolling her bloodshot eyes, champing at the bit and scattering flecks of foam, reared now and again on her hind legs, shaking even the 200-pound weight of Bulbatoon and making his curved saber rattle in its scabbard as the colonel lightly touched her nervous flanks with his spurs. For our headmen are with us, shoulder to shoulder alongside as brothers. Chorused the bold Haidamaks as they trotted along, pigtails jogging. With their bullet-torn yellow and blue standard fluttering and accordions playing, rode the regiment of the dark, mustached Colonel Kazir Leshko mounted on a huge charger. The colonel looked grim, scowling and slashing at the rump of his stallion with a whip. The colonel had cause to be angry. In the misty early hours of that morning the rifle fire from NAI TER's detachment on the Brest-Litovsk highway had hit Kazir's best troops hard, and as the regiment trotted into the square its ranks had been closed up to conceal the gaps in them. Behind Kazir came the brave, hitherto unbeaten Hetman Mazepa regiment of cavalry. The name of the glorious Hetman, who had almost destroyed Peter the Great at the Battle of Poltava, glittered in gold letters on a sky-blue silk standard. Streams of people flowed around the gray and yellow walls, people pushed forward and climbed onto advertisement hoardings, little boys clambered up the lampposts and sat on the crossbars, stood on rooftops, whistled and shouted hurrah. Hurrah!